So hello and welcome to this tutorial on what I believe to be the most important farm that you should build when you first start a new world. This should be your first farm. Now, to keep you out of suspense, I'm just going to show you now, big reveal. This is the Sugarcane Farm. Now, a lot of people would say that you should have your food sorted before you get this going. You should have all sorts of things sorted before you get this going, but realistically, food's quite commonplace. You can get out there and get all sorts of food from all over the place. Whereas sugarcane, you need a bit longer to get that sorted. And the reason that I say you should get this started as soon as possible is because over here we can have a little look and see an enchanting setup. Now this is the full enchanting setup, which has 16 shelves in it. Each shelf has 3 books. Plus 1 book in the middle here. So we've got 3 books for each shelf with 3 pieces of paper for each book, which equates to, altogether including the bench, 147 pieces of paper, which is 147 pieces of sugarcane, which is about 2.5 stacks of sugarcane, which isn't a huge amount, but it takes time to grow. It takes quite a lot of time to grow. So this is why I think this is the first farm that you should be setting up. As soon as you've actually settled down somewhere, you should be getting this going. Soon after that, immediately after that if you can, you need to get your cow farm organised so that you can start making leather and get those books going. Because to do the shelving, you only need 48 pieces of leather. Now that can be quite quick to actually get going, whereas sugarcane can take a long time to grow. Up here I've got the tick speed switched up so that you can see this going pretty easily. I've used just some basic dirt blocks here, and because I'm in the mushroom biome, it's turned them to mycelia, which is pretty ugly in my opinion. Probably the ugliest block in the entire game. But there we go. It doesn't need to be pretty. This is to be very functional. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to move on to the actual tutorial part of this and show you how it all works. So let's get to building this thing. So as you can see, I've got a little basic setup here of a crafting bench and a furnace and 2 chests. Now the chest on the left has got all of the really basic raw materials in that we're going to use for this build. And this is for the people who are really new to Minecraft and they don't know any of the crafting recipes. I'm going to go through all of that. For everyone else, I've got the chest on the right. Now this contains all of the crafted items ready to go, and I'm going to put in a link on the screen around about now, and that will take you through to the next section of the video where we actually start building this. Right, so everyone who's still with me, we're just going to go over here and break this chest, and that will basically pop all of the items out everywhere, and I'll just grab them off the floor. And first things first, we're going to need to smelt up some items. So we need to smelt all of the iron, 15 of the cobble, so 1, 2, so that's 15 there, and 6 of the sand. Yep. So those items all need smelting up. So we've got the 14, the 15 and the 6. And I've also got 5 pieces of coal there, which should be enough to smelt up all of these items. So 1 piece of coal will smelt 8 items, and we've got 35 items there, so 5 pieces of coal will cover the lot. I'm just going to tend this for a few minutes and we'll cut back when it's finished. And we're back. We're just in time to see the last piece of sand being smelted into glass, and we'll grab that. So we've got all of our items ready there, and we'll just switch over to the crafting bench. So this chest is one which I broke down when I broke the thing, so I'm going to ignore that one as if it's not there, because it's not really part of the deal on this. So first thing we're going to do is grab up all of this oak and turn it all into planks. So I've got 52 planks and I need to make myself 2 chests. So I'll just run them round like this, and then a second one, and then shift click them out. Whoops, that's not shift. And let's see, I need one of those, and the other one I'm going to turn into a hopper. So I'm going to grab my iron and I'm just going to run it around the chest like that, and that will give me my hopper. So let's just pop that up there. That's another completed item. And next we're going to work on the pistons, and we needed 9 pistons. So that's those 9. I'm just going to put all of the redstone in because that doesn't really matter. I've only got 9 iron, so it's only going to make 9 pistons. And same with the cobble there. Oh, that's exactly 9, that's perfect. And same with the planks. So if I grab all those out, I've got myself 9 pistons, which is perfect. And let's get all those back out. Next, I'm going to grab up my glass and just spread it around like that to make some glass panes. 16 is far too many, but we'll use 8 and keep the other 8 for later. Now next is the repeaters. So what we need to do is make up 5 repeaters. So I'm going to need 10 sticks. So that's 6 of those bits of wood, and these ones are now left over. I'm not going to do anything with those. And I'm just going to make myself 11 redstone torches. So that's all of the redstone torches that I'm going to need now. One of them I'm going to put down here because I'm going to use it there, and the other 10 I'm going to spread out like that, put in some more redstone, and then put the smooth stone underneath, and that gives me my repeaters. Now that should be everything crafted up and ready to go. Right, just before we head over and start building this, I'm just going to get rid of the few extra items that I don't actually need anymore. So I'm going to take that chest, which I broke down originally, put that down and just put in the stick and the 3 bits of wood. Now let's have a little check over everything else. Yeah, that's everything we need. There's probably a little bit more redstone than we need there, but there's nothing wrong with that. Oh yeah, and there's twice as much glass as we need. So that's everything that we need down there, ready to go. Now let's just head over here and get started. So first things first, I'm going to run from here 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and then an extra one on the end, and then down this side I'm going to grab my sand and do another 8 in that direction. Now you can do this with dirt, but because I'm on a mushroom biome I'm using sand so it doesn't turn into mycelia. Now that maybe is foreign, but let's just say that you're probably best off using sand if you're unsure. Right, next is to put down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Not strictly necessary, but you know, why not? We've got plenty of spare blocks here. So I've done 2 rows there. I'm going to grab my pistons and place them down on here. So this is only going to use up 8 of the pistons, so I want 1 spare at the end. So that's sort of what you've got so far, looking a bit like that. Next I'm going to throw down my water at the end here. Now because we've gone 8 blocks, it should run exactly to that point, which is perfect. So let's get rid of our bucket, we're not going to need that anymore, and I'm going to need the hopper and the chest next. So I'm going to put the chest down, jump to the other side and just shift and right click into the chest to put the hopper into it. So anything that falls into that hopper will now go into the chest. Let's just do that a bit better. Yeah, there we go. Little demonstration. Right, so that's sort of the basic principle of it worked out already. So the next thing that we're going to do is do a little bit of redstone in at the back to make these pistons fire at a reasonable timing. So the first thing we're going to have to do is run a row of blocks along the back here. I should say I've chosen dirt for this build because it's just a block which is in great abundance. You don't actually need to use dirt, you can use any block that you want on most of the outer parts. The only bit that needs to be anything in particular is this down here, and that needs to be either sand or dirt. Right, so let's get our redstone. I'm just going to shift click one of those out so I've got everything that I need on hand. So we're going to put down a row of redstone across the back here on the blocks that we just placed down, and we're going to place a single repeater going into it with 1 tick. Right in behind that we're going to place down our second or our last piston with a piece of sand on top. Now again, this doesn't need to be sand, but it does need to be a gravity block. So the piston, when it pushes up, the block needs to go up, and when it goes back down, the block needs to go down. If you've got the luxury of slime, then you can use a slime block, or a sticky piston, sorry, with a block stuck to its face, which will go up and down with the block. But because we're doing this in sort of the absolute most basic starter package type mode, we're just going to use gravity blocks. Next, we're going to build up a repeater clock. So that's really straightforward. We just need to put a little bit of redstone there, a solid block here, and the redstone torch on the side there. Now you saw it fire just then, so that was the pistons just pumped out very quickly, because the redstone went straight through this block for a brief second that it was in place, sent a pulse over there into the repeater made it long enough for the pistons to register it, and away you go. Well, and strong enough. Various things that repeater's doing there. So next we need to get 2 repeaters in there, and then 2 repeaters in there facing opposite directions. So these ones are going to be powered by the redstone torch. I'm going to put a couple of pieces of redstone on the end, and then it's going to loop back into the block, switch the block off, power the block, which switches the torch off, which switches this off, and it goes round and round and round forever. And that's a very basic little clock. So before we actually put the redstone in, we need to set these to 4 ticks to get the maximum effect from that, and then bang bang, and then you can see it going on and off. There we go. So let's watch that. Oh wow, they do some weird glitchy things. Now in principle that is everything built. It's just a couple of basic finishing touches that are going to make it a little bit more efficient. Now I'm just going to build up the sides here, and I'm going to walk across the top, whoops, like this, and just place blocks all the way across here. And this is going to make sure that when the pistons fire and knock the sugarcane out of place, that the sugarcane doesn't just go flying absolutely everywhere. I'm going a bit overkill on the blocks, but you know, why not? Why not? So we're going to have another row across the top here, and then and oops, right. So next we grab our glass down, and we're just going to put the glass in like this. Now the reason we're putting the glass here is to stop the sugarcane from flying all over the place. So the pistons pop out, they come firing out, they knock the sugarcane straight into this glass, which has got a smaller hitbox than most normal blocks. It hits that and drops straight down into the water stream. So I should say this isn't 100% efficient, but for an early game little farm, it's all you need. And finally we've got the sugarcane itself. So on this little world here, I've got quite a high random tick speed, which will mean that the sugarcane should grow reasonably quickly. So there you go. As you can see, the sugarcane is growing quite quickly. There we go, there goes one. And it's hitting it off straight into the glass, and it drops down, falls into the water stream, gets pushed along to the hopper, and the hopper pushes it into the chest. And you can start collecting sugarcane very quickly. Now, like I say, this particular world does have a high random tick speed, so I'm expecting the sugarcane to grow much faster than you would in your world. But this is just to show you how clearly it works, and yeah, that's basically it. That's the whole little farm done. So I hope you enjoyed this little tutorial, and it is really intended as a very, very early game farm, and it's not something that you'd want to stick around for too long, but once you've got this up and going, you can really start thinking about getting your enchants going earlier on. And that's the most important thing. So if you have enjoyed this, please leave me a like. If you've got any questions, drop me a comment. And if you really like it, give me a subscribe. That'd be great. So thank you very much, and we'll see you again.